Wir gehen einmal in die Uhrenkollektion von Nico Leonard rein. Einer der bekanntesten Uhren-YouTuber, der letztes Jahr ziemlich groß geworden ist. Und dann schauen wir uns mal an, was da so abgeht. Monte hat im letzten Stream überlegt, eine IRL im Heidepark zu machen. Bist du dabei? Wenn er mich fragt, bin ich dabei. Ja, wir wollten noch vom Weihnachtsmarkt live gehen, haben wir nicht geschafft. Wenn er mich fragt, bin ich natürlich am Start.
Funny bit is, right? I genuinely from the bottom of my heart, I hate Hublot. Right? It's just
Hello, welcome to Swiss Watch and welcome to a very, very special video. We are a few days before Christmas and I want to end this year with a bang. So today we're here with Nico, the one and only God tier legend. How are you, mate? You good?
Doing well, bro. Doing well.
Listen, thank you for having us. So this is the first time you actually show your watch collection.
Yes.
It's going to be a bit of a more relaxed video. We speak about your store, your watches, how you got into this whole hobby and passion. But first of all, I want to congratulate you on the massive success with YouTube. So how's the ride been for you so far? On YouTube and all the platforms you basically dominate?
Wouldn't say dominate, mate. Wouldn't say dominate for sure. Yeah, it's been a hell of a ride. Like, I mean, 1 million subscribers. Yeah. My team was worked 24/7 to make it happen, to be the first ever to do it in our industry.
Yeah. Yes.
It's surreal, to be completely honest. It's surreal, and I'm living a dream. Like, genuinely, I'm living a dream. The watch world is very exclusive, and with the word exclusive, I mean, you're always excluded. You never belong to something.
Yes.
And I always wanted to make sure that there's no difference with someone spending 50 quid than with someone spending 50,000 on a watch. It's about the passion, it's about the love, and it's about the reasoning and the emotions behind a watch. And for me, that's the key. And therefore, our following is very diverse. But what I see as well on our Reddit, we see watches of people with collections worth millions and collections of Casios, and they all contribute and they all having fun, and I think that's really unique.
Yeah.
So instead of the watch world being so excluded, I want to make sure that everyone is equal and everyone is having fun.
Many people know you from your YouTube channel, but you also were a businessman before you even had YouTube, right?
Yes.
So you were selling watches basically.
Yeah, I was selling watches. Yeah. I call us pre-loved watch dealers. Now we're going into dealerships, so we're getting big brands within the company. So we're actually transforming the business. But before I was selling watches, I was repairing, servicing watches as well. So that's why I really started, to be honest.
Yeah, and you also specialize on vintage pieces, right? Which we
that's my love. Yeah. That's where it started. My first big boy watch was vintage. Oh, because of Jasper, you know.
Amsterdam vintage watches.
Yeah, absolutely. When I had this ambition to quit my job and stop repairing and servicing watches as a side hustle, but then properly making a career out of it. Like, I reached out to Jasper and he showed me the ropes, and he inspired me with a lot of pieces you see on the table as well. And like, it's safe to say that I wouldn't be in the position where I am today without his help. Yeah.
So there's quite a big range of watches here, from Seacoast to really some grail piece and vintage stuff I've never seen before, and something very, very special in this box, which we'll show at the end.
You're missing the watch next to it. Let's go out there.
This one, the God watch. Yeah. So let's start with this one then. This is the watch. Arguably better than the watch on my wrist.
No, it's not arguably better. It's significantly better already. Like, I mean, that watch has done more in the industry than that.
Hatte seine Hublot heute an.
I can't even believe I touched that. No. In all due seriousness, George Bamford. I love George. An inspiration for me. A guy that has struggled in the industry when he started off, when he wanted to achieve his dream. Brands hated him. People didn't always like him, but he just went for it. And a big inspiration for me. An incredible guy, and it's my favorite brand. Like period. Done.
It's the God tier watch.
It's the God tier watch. Exactly.
Casio better give you like a big percentage of the company now.
You know what the thing is, right? I always wanted to have the Casio dealership and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We chased them for 2 years and they said no. They just said no.
But recently it happened.
Recently we got it done, recently we got it done. So we're authorized Casio dealers.
Nice.
And I think in the first 12 hours of us announcing that, I think we sold out their UK warehouse. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, thousands of watches were gone. It was absolute madness in the office.
So the next Casio you buy,
That's it.
That's the address to go to.
All right.
So what are we starting there with? We got some nice two vintage Seikos.
Yes. I think that this is where my real journey starts. I always say my journey started at the age of 13, but I didn't have a watch. I didn't buy a watch. I didn't have the money. But that's why I started researching watches and trying to figure out what is it? What's the story? And this was my first real watch, right? And as you can see, it kind of looks like a Rolex Datejust at the time. Yes. And this is all my parents could afford at the time. It was gifted on my birthday, my 16th birthday. And from that moment, I was just obsessed. Like, I mean, done, and I wore that every single day, and people asking, is that a Rolex? And I'm like, I was so, because that was for me the goal. That was the first time I realized that watches actually gives you, or gave me, a lot of confidence.
Yeah, and power.
Like, and it gave me
approval, like
approval. Yeah. And as a very insecure young man or kid even, like, that really gave me that boost, and it's maybe not good, but it helped me, you know. And
the next one is a bit, you wanted a bit more bling?
Yeah, I wanted a bit more
gold.
You know what,
more
right?
approval.
Exactly. It's
a day date.
That's a proper day date, ladies and gentlemen. Gold day date.
Ghost dial.
Oh, ghost dial. Of course. Day date. Faded as well. This watch is my most valuable watch I have. This was my grandfather's watch, you know. Yeah. And I sometimes see your videos, and back in the day, talking watches with Ben Clymer. I only wanted to watch the episodes with Ben Clymer. Yeah. Like, I mean, this is the time where Houdinki was unbelievable.
He was the guy, yeah.
My grandfather's a big personality in the Netherlands. Done a lot of good in the world. Has an estate in the Netherlands named after him, Nico van der Horstpark. Nice. My father is Nico II and Nico III. Yeah. My son, born 5 weeks ago, Nico IV. I mean, everything, that's my grandfather, right? Yeah. So for me, that man meant the world, and the fact that I own his watch or have his watch, like, that means the world.
So what are the next watches you want to jump into?
I think this one. My Oyster Perpetual.
Sowas ist immer schön, wenn man halt Uhren hat, die mit denen man etwas Emotionales verbindet. Ne? Das ist auch so etwas, wenn man die Geschichte irgendwie startet. In allen Dingen, wenn wir irgendwelche Uhren verkaufen, zum Beispiel bei Marcy's, haben wir auch diesen Monat bald mal wieder. Es sind halt Sachen, die nur einmalig dann passieren. Ne? Und ja, ist einfach, was man verbindet.
Sure. It's not a very special watch, is it?
No engraving, not special.
No engraving, nothing. I was gifted this watch on my 30th birthday on our last family holiday. My mom is luckily, and I'm very fortunate that she's still with us, and she was able to see my wee man and meet her grandson, you know. But yeah, that was our last family holiday, and we knew that was going to be our last family holiday, and it was my birthday, and I just wanted a watch that I would be able to hand down to my kids, which in this case, perfect. We will. And the reason why it's not engraved is because I want to do that. I want to make that decision. I want to do a funny engraving, you know. And this is really important.
Zum Beispiel dieses Thema mit Gravuren hat auch abgenommen. Ne? Wir hatten jetzt ein paar Uhren im Ankauf, wo wir die Gravuren auch wieder dann rausmachen. Ne? Das ist auch keine große Arbeit, aber Gravuren insgesamt finde ich eine sehr coole persönliche Note.
For me, people use the watch industry like as a cash cow with fake stories and all sorts. Like, this is how brands, or a good few brands, try to sell their watches with stories and fake stories. But there is nothing like a Rolex. Yeah. You can love it, you can hate it, but there is just nothing like a Rolex. That's my Oyster Perpetual.
So then we have actually a watch which I also own. So we have a common piece in the collection.
This is a watch I bought at retail in 2019. Yeah. As you can see, I properly wore that. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Like, I travel a lot, right? And for me, a GMT function or a world timer, these are my go-to complications when I travel, right? Absolutely love that watch. This is a daily beater. I haven't worn this very much this year, but absolutely love that watch.
Awesome piece. Yeah. And you also wear the AP a lot, right?
AP,
chrono.
The AP. 26331 chrono. It's also 2019, funny enough.
Nice panda dial.
Yeah, I wear, this is the watch I wore the most in 2022. The most beautiful bracelet in the world.
Yes.
The most beautiful bracelet in the watch world, period. Absolutely love this.
Irgendwie, es war jetzt so, ich war heute auch beim Save und da habe ich nochmal alle APs gesehen und irgendwie, wenn ihr so die letzte Zeit bei mir verfolgt habt, war es so, ich habe nicht viele AP-Uhren auch gezeigt, ne? Der Hype hat so ein bisschen nachgelassen, aber wenn man Abstand zu den Uhren hat, muss man einfach sagen, AP ist nochmal vor der Nautilus und ist einfach eine für schöne Uhr, ne? Gibt's nichts.
Watch dearly. Listen, it's not the most reliable movement, right? Let me put it out there, right? This is probably the watch that went back to AP the most, right? And friends of mine, some of them that own this watch as well, have the same problem. It's not the most reliable movement. I just love that bracelet. And from when I was young, in my early 20s, when I was trying to act like I was someone when I wasn't, in Marbella, in a nightclub, when you wore a fake watch because you wanted to show off and you have nothing to show off for, but you want to fake it, right? Fake it till you make it. Yes. There was always that AP bracelet. Yeah, this was in my early stages of life when I didn't know what was really important. And I always said one day I will own an AP, a real one that I can wear every single day that doesn't break. The last part didn't apply because the real ones go as well.
You're still searching for that.
I'm still searching for that one.
So on the topic of AP, this is the watch I've recently seen you wear the most.
Yes.
What do you nickname it? Music box or something? Or DJ set?
AP calls it music, right? I don't know why, but I know it was music, but they could have come up with a better name, to be honest. But for me, this dial this watch doesn't do justice on photos. When I saw this watch for the first time in real life, and I saw this at AP House in London when I was picking up a piece unique, which was in service with them for about 2.5 years. They showed me this and I was absolutely in love. I said, I want that watch when we hit 1 million subscribers, for the simple reason, this dial represents my YouTube channel. This dial represents my life, up and down, up and down, up and down. And it also means something to me because it reminds me of the fact that you wouldn't have any good days if there weren't any bad ones. You wouldn't have any good ones if there weren't any bad ones. Yeah. Although YouTube gave me a lot of good stuff and gave me another chance in the watch world and the industry I love so much. It also gave me a lot of anxiety and moments where you're like, I can't do this anymore. I can't, like this dial represents the lowest of the low and the highest of the high. Nice. And I love this watch very much. As outrageous as people think I am, I'm actually a very classic person wearing watches, and sometimes the way I dress, it's not always on camera, to be honest. But this is my playful watch, my Nico Leonard watch, my YouTube watch, my me watch. And I think AP is miles ahead of the competition today. Like not just doing this watch doesn't represent that, but this watch is part of speaking to a younger generation of people that do well in life.
Definitely. Nice watch we need. So you said you wear sometimes more classical watches where we come to the watch on your wrist.
Yeah.
This is a very, very classy piece, one that I want to buy myself in the future as well.
Yeah.
What are we looking at there?
Wow.
5231J for sure is not financially the biggest watch in my collection, but it's the watch that's me, right?
I love it.
This was always my grail, and I told you the story about the micro router and UG, and then I've always been fascinated with micro routers. I mean, I think it's unbelievable the way they transform that energy into power is very difficult for
a small component
for such a small component, right? But forgetting about that,
yeah, the dial is just.
I mean, closing in.
That's it.
This is older than anything you'll ever see in your life today. This is a technique that is just bizarre. Before Christ, there's not many techniques we still use today.
Yeah,
that's 2,000 years old, but closing in was one of them.
And I love the hour hand.
I'm absolutely obsessed with that, right? It's probably one of my least legible watches, to be completely honest.
Ich höre gespannt zu.
Like, I'm just a watch guy above anything else. I can't deny that some of the dials of Grand Seiko are unbelievable.
Spectacular.
But some of the watches that they make as well are absolute rubbish, like in every way possible. But forget that, right? Forget that. For me, I always say you can only really criticize if you have one. Now, I have a Grand Seiko. And my point was never the brand. My point is the extreme soldiers or keyboard warriors that come to me and say that this Grand Seiko diver's better than a Submariner. It's like this hardcore fan group, what the Panaristi were back in the day, multiplied it by 1,000. And I just like to wind them up. And I will not stop winding them up.
Hey, es kommt mir bekannt vor bei Parfumo.
And now you even have one, so it's...
Yeah, now I have one.
They're conflicted.
They're conflicted, but next to that, to be completely honest, I think that Grand Seiko is a bunch of amateurs in every way possible. Like, I mean, your man that moved from Hodinkee to Grand Seiko, he's probably a nice guy, but like, I think this is actually really worrying for our industry, that if I see them talking on the official Instagram page and on an Instagram live and there's 73 people watching, like the amateuristic stuff of their marketing. I mean, they have absolutely no idea what they're doing.
No, slowly they're coming up with good ideas, like storytelling, etc.
Yeah, but I mean, this is again what I started earlier. It's trying to sell a watch by creating a story. It's never about the actual craft. When did you hear Philippe Dufour talking about a story? It's just about proper craftsmanship, proper passion. Like, this is what is a bit of a challenge, or this is why I actually said to you yesterday I fell out of love a bit with the watch world. But there's a lot of good stuff. Of course, it's easy to talk about the bad stuff and amateurs and if you don't come up with solutions, then it's easy. It's easy. You see what I mean? To bash. And I have great ideas. So if you ever want to talk, great ideas for you to fix that stuff. But can I be honest? Sure. Can I just say this, right? And we had a brief conversation about this yesterday. By the way, Grand Seiko, nice watch. Oh, I have to say that, sorry. And we had this conversation yesterday. And I think in 10 years, the watch world will look completely different. Breguet will struggle. The younger generation, the 35-year-old, the 30 to 40, the 30 to 50, that's the generation.
Even less, huh?
Even less.
Even younger.
New generation.
Eine Sache darf man nicht vergessen. Also Breguet zum Beispiel, ich denke auch immer, wer soll das kaufen? Es gibt tatsächlich noch immer ein paar Leute, die das Zeug kaufen. Es steht und fällt natürlich mit der Kostenstruktur, inwieweit die Marken, wie viel Stückzahlen die produzieren und sowas, aber die Uhrenwelt befindet sich immer im Wandel. Ne?
Are starting to make more money and wanting to buy more mechanical watches. If we don't change a few things in our industry today, that's over, mate. That's over. That's done. These guys are not interested in that anymore. Whenever Patek will not be cool anymore, which will potentially happen if they go the same direction they're going. And don't get me wrong, absolutely love what Patek has done this year. but they don't speak the language of the next generation. And this is the problem with a lot of watch.
Ja, aber da darf man eine Sache nicht vergessen. Er hat mit Sicherheit in einem Punkt recht, dass er sagt, dass die Marken nicht die Sprache der Audience sprechen. Das habe ich auch schon festgestellt. Wenn man beispielsweise jetzt sich die Leute auf der Watch World anschaut, die von den Konzessionären angefangen über die Marken. Ne? Wir haben ja auch versucht, gewisse Brands zu bekommen, auch Seiko und so weiter. Und selbst mit Casio war es ja ein langer Weg. Und die Sache ist, nicht zwangsweise ist es so, dass wenn jetzt die Marke sich 100% anpasst auf die Wünsche des Markts, heißt es nicht unbedingt, dass sie dadurch erfolgreicher werden. Manche Hersteller sind gerade erfolgreich, weil sie ihre eigene Linie durchziehen. Und es ist wirklich klar, dass jetzt Marken wie Patek Philippe und so weiter, die leben in einer Blase. Die haben nichts mit der realen Welt oder wie uns jetzt zu tun. Gerade dieses ganze Thema Resell und auch, dass man halt die Produkte fertigt, genau für die Wünsche der Kunden. Ne? In gewisser Weise bei manchen Modellen, wenn wir jetzt über so eine Tiffany sprechen, 5711 und so weiter, die ist ja in einem sehr, sehr kleinen Kreis vorenthalten. So, und das ist jetzt ja kein Massenprodukt. Also das, was er sagt, ist in gewisser Weise also trifft er da einen Punkt. Die Frage ist immer nur, ob es immer Sinn macht, sich den Kundenwünschen zu 100% anzupassen oder ob es nicht so ist, dass die Schweizer einfach ihren eigenen Stil durchziehen und dadurch erreichen, dass die Leute trotzdem ein Fan davon sind. Das ist die Frage.
Brands, and I can say, and I can give Hublot all the hate in the world, and I do that, as you know, every week.
Slightly, yeah.
But they do speak the language of the next generation.
They what?
It's hard for me to say, but they do speak the language. Shut up, you bastard. But they do speak the language of the next generation. And AP is doing a great job, yes. And Fashion will struggle. And I hope not. But what I'm telling you here is the younger generation are not used to how we connected emotions to watches.
Yeah.
They're just listening to bullshit stories made up by some marketing agency.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And this is where it went wrong with Panerai as well.
Yeah.
The marketing agency didn't even know that half the watches they were posting online were fake.
Exactly. Or retouched a lot, or Frankenstein watches.
You see, it's. I know for a fact that the entire watch world knows my name, although they're embarrassed to admit, which is fine. I'm hated, I'm loved, but I always speak the truth, and I'm not always right, but I speak my truth.
Yeah, at least you go to bed like with a clean conscience.
I don't know how I got into this story, but anyway, it was Grand Seco. That's how we got there. I actually wanted to say that because this is what Hamilton does really, really well. Like, I only bought this, right? This is the funny bit, is I don't get free watches. I bought this for the sole reason that I wanted to support a really cool thing that Hamilton done. They collaborated with a video game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool, right? Yeah. And I just want to support that. Far Cry 6, I have the game somewhere as well. I don't really have time to play video games, but I bought that for that reason, and that reason alone. I've worked 2 times, I think, as you can see. But I just wanted that because I thought it's such a cool move.
Support the collection, basically.
Yeah, and this is what I like to see. And a Rolex will always be there, but we're going to see big changes.
Nice. IWC, Portuguese.
I love IWC now. There's another, I'm not allowed to show it, but it's nice.
It's a bronze chronograph in the back.
I love that. I love chronographs. Yes. I love IWC. Stephen, my right-hand man, has literally given up his life to sort out mine. And whenever he joined me, I said, I'll buy you a watch. But at the time, we couldn't afford that. I couldn't afford it. And I think this was last year, just before Christmas. He and I were in London for something, and I saw that green, right? I saw that green. He's an Irishman, and when I saw that watch, I was like, that's it. So I bought him that watch, and I bought one myself, and that was like this kind of weird marriage type of thing. You see what I mean? But he'll probably say it differently, but for me, it was like, he worked his bollocks off, the same as my entire team.
Yeah.
And genuinely, I hope that in 25 years, when he still stands next to me, that there's a day that we spontaneously wear the same watch, right? Because that is creating that emotion.
Yes,
with
exactly.
It. And I love that very much.
Then we've got some big pieces here on the table, huh? So let's start with maybe the modern version, and then we'll go into the vintage pieces.
Yeah.
Beautiful watch, the most complicated Rolex.
Most complicated Rolex ever produced, yeah.
How did you come to buy this one?
Sky Dweller was always the watch for me. Yeah. I loved it. Was never a big fan of the Oyster Flex, but when I saw this on the Oyster Flex, I was like, I want that in my life, period. There's no emotion, there's no story, it's just a cool watch and a very functional watch as well. It's a proper tool watch for me.
Yes.
Like in a way of being able to read multiple time zones when I'm abroad, and definitely now I'm a father. Every time, doesn't matter where I am in the world, every time I come into the hotel room and I go to bed, I always call my missus, and that makes me just quickly to look what time it is at home.
Nice. And then a watch which doesn't say much to me, but for all the Rolex guys out there, this is a very important piece, correct?
Yeah, very important piece.
I see engraving on the back, I see a Comex inscription on the dial. So tell us, what are we looking at here?
This is a 16600 Mark 1 1992 Comex Sea Dweller, or Sea Dweller 4000. It's a watch that we have not seen a single other one in 7 years to date. 1992 were 100 of these produced, right? These were for actual divers, for the Comex divers, right? With the number on it, Mark 1. And in 1996, this watch was replaced with a Mark II. Everyone always sees the Mark II floating about, but no one has ever seen a 1992.
And this is one of them.
And this is one of them. And I don't think price is important on a piece like this, right? I think we all know the importance of the collaboration of Comex and Rolex. But if you see on auctions, right, the rarest pieces in the world, and still in the last 7 years, none of them ever come up. In the last 7 years, none. Like, I mean, that says it all, right? And every single rare watch, from piece uniques to world timers to mad tourbillons to mad minute repeaters to the maddest vintage watches to John Player specials to 639s to Paul Newman's watch. Still, in 1992, it's not been seen. For me personally, and this is Jasper again, had a big influence on me, and definitely as a lover of vintage watches, because there's one thing in the watch world money can't buy. It's that. Even if you have 10 million in the bank, you can buy all this, right? Except these two, because that's more story. You can buy any special Richard Mille, you can buy whatever you want. But this, you can't. This is the watch that money can't buy. I think that's I think the pinnacle for a collector, finding the watch that just money can't buy. I found that in this watch.
So what do we have here? We have two nice Rolex Daytonas, not that much. I don't know the reference numbers, that's where you come in.
6265. You know why it's 6265?
No idea.
It's the last generation of that type of watch, right? So this is 1987, right? Do you remember when the first Zenith came out?
No.
1988, right? So what you see here is a Oyster, so it's waterproof, right? So this is a waterproof chronograph for the 639, some of them, and definitely the second batch of the 639s, the steel bezel pump pushers. Watch wasn't waterproof. Right? The 6263 generation at the time made a change in that, but the difference with the 6263 was the big light bezel, right? And with the 6265, they went back to the OG, which actually is very close to 6234 or 6238, right?
Of course.
Where, however, the tachymeter was inside the dial rather than on the bezel. For me, this looks more like the OG chronograph of Rolex, and therefore the 6265 is my favorite reference number. But next to that as well, that's my birth year watch. For me, that was important. I needed to have a birth year watch and I needed a chronograph. I couldn't afford a Patek, and I always was obsessed with Rolex, so it just made sense. And I was quite lucky that I was born in 1987, to be honest, because if I was born in 1988, I wouldn't have been able to have a vintage Daytona as a birth year watch.
Awesome, beautiful piece. And then the full yellow gold watch, the full yellow gold Daytona. I've seen something similar years ago when I photographed one. So what are we seeing here?
What you see here is a full 14 karat 663. 14 karat, that was designed, made for the American market. And approximately 1% in that era was made in 14 karat, making that approximately 20 watches that were produced in 14 karat at the time.
Oh, nothing.
And we're talking about 40 odd years ago, 45 years ago. So how many do you think that there's still left in the world?
Not many. And in this condition, probably even less, right?
Where the stamps 14 karat are still on it, where everything is original, every single part of the Volju 727, like everything is still there. And for me as a collector, that's the prime. Like John Mayer, the famous video, the best watch video I've ever seen in my life. I'll never top that, and genuinely, I will stop my career. If you ever want to get rid of me on YouTube, just get me a video with John Mayer, I'll stop forever. Like, if I am ever able to have a conversation with him about vintage Daytonas, because that's where it started for me, vintage Daytonas.
A watch which never saw the light of day.
It's the first time this watch comes on camera, you know.
Everybody that collects APs or loves APs, knows APs, read about APs, you've never seen this, right?
Never.
So thank you for allowing me to show this piece.
Of course. I genuinely just want to say this, right? I think the best release of AP, and this is a bit controversial to say, right? A lot of people disagree with this, is the 25th anniversary. Do you remember the 25th anniversary of the Royal Oak?
Yes.
The pure symmetry on that watch was just pure, right? The winder was a ball egg, right? An absolute ball egg. But it was the perfect watch. And whenever I heard that there was a piece unique of that watch,
you went on the hunt.
I went on a hunt. A hunt of 2.5 years that ended for me in the heights of lockdown. Broke, 1, right? 2, tired, 3, nearly arrested 3 times because I crossed borders illegally and all sorts of mad stuff, because I drove, because I couldn't get a plane. And it ended up with me finally achieving and finding that watch and having that in my hands and having the deal concluded.
Beautiful. So what are we looking at here?
And you're looking at a full platinum piece unique based on the 25th anniversary of the Royal Oak. This is the only one in the world.
This is insane, man.
And you'll never see another one in that configuration with that color.
Mother of pearl sub-dials and dials, basically.
For me, that is collector's dream, right? And still today, funny enough, the first time we ever spoke watches, I think it was 2 years ago. We spoke about that watch, and we spoke about this one as well. And I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, my son will keep this for the rest of his life, and hopefully it goes to another generation.
Insane, beautiful. So this is a piece unique AP.
There's photos of the archives, and as well, this is a unique reference number.
So having all these nice watches, you said you fell in love with the industry a bit this year. But do you have a grail, or do you believe in a grail, or is the concept a bit too loose?
No, because when you finish, it's like people like me, people like this. We're not built to be satisfied, mate.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a fact, right? We're not built to be satisfied. Yeah. This year, I absolutely fell in love with Krunevel. Yeah. And I'm going to follow them closely in the years to come. I have that on my list. That's the chronograph. That's it. That's now that watch.
Fantastic.
You see what I mean? That's now that watch, what I've done, and I usually achieve what I have in mind. Like, I hope genuinely that I will be able to breathe my last breath knowing that these are still in our family, and my family is something that I created.
Yeah.
Right? But I can't guarantee that because you never know what's happened. But as a collector, that is the end goal, right? And although I did fall out of love a bit with the industry, and there's this more snobby approach, and us younger generation being just ignored, not listened to, and like, Marco, I'm here to stay. You're here to stay. I mean, I will.
We'll go down fighting, yeah.
I won't go down, but I will go fighting. Like, you see what I mean? So there's a lot more to come, but I want to use that platform. Like, this is why Andrew. Yeah. Funny enough, Andrew Morgan, he is the voice of the watch world. Yeah. Like, I pushed him to do it, to go on YouTube himself, building this platform and just doing it for good and all. Like, I want to see Patek doing unbelievable. Yeah. I don't want to, like, where I'm looking at is grim at the moment. Yeah. Not where it releases, but the future.
Nico, thank you so much. Bro, thank you so much for taking the time to show the watches and your story, actually.
Listen, I appreciate.
Not shouting too much at the watch.
Listen, mate. Listen, it's
just letting around.
Like, to be honest, I'm very fortunate that I don't have to wear it. And listen, the fact you bring this piece of my house, I mean, get out. No, genuinely, like, and
so that's the main thing. Buy what you like. If you are one of those people, you know, God forbid, like Suvla, just buy it. You know?
Guys, listen, I agree with what he's saying. Buy what you like. Always. Don't listen to me, but never, ever, ever buy that. Actually, I grabbed that watch yesterday and I said, you see that movement? And I'll just Google $150. Yes, $150, and you paid. Sure. You know what? It's fine.
Well, listen, I love it. I'm happy with it. So
it's about what the watch tells you.
Yes, exactly.
And it tells a lot about you. Same as Grand Seiko, man.
Yeah.
Who pays more than $1,000 for a seat now? Joking.
I mean the best.
I love
the brand. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again so much, guys. Obviously, check out what Nico is doing. I'm going to put all the links in the description because he definitely needs more subscribers.
No, it's fine, man. No. Listen, I appreciate you coming to Belfast all the way.
Thank you. And my absolute pleasure. My absolute pleasure. So, guys, like and subscribe, and also thank you for watching. Cheers.
Nico Leonard out.
Ja, sehr nettes Video. Also sehr vielseitige Kollektion auf jeden Fall. Von allem etwas dabei. Kann man so sagen.